Welcome to Purple Bell Bottoms with that 70s gal cat. That's me. Let me ask you something. Did you ever have a doll that felt like more than just a toy? A doll you carried everywhere, tucked into bed at night, talked to, dressed up, and maybe even cried over when something happened to it? Today I want to talk about dolls, but not just the dolls themselves. I want to talk about what they meant to us growing up in the 60s and 70s, and how different that experience feels compared to today. Because when I think about those dolls, I don't just think about the plastic and the fabric. I remember the imagination, I remember the friendships, and I remember those people who loved us enough to make all those memories possible. One of the best Christmas gifts I ever received was my Chatty Cathy doll. If you grew up in the 1960s, you know exactly what I'm talking about. She was a hard plastic doll with sleepy eyes that closed when you laid her down. She had adorable little buck teeth, knock knees, a pot belly, and the sweetest little face you've ever seen. But what made Chatty Cathy special was that pull string in the back. You'd grab that little ring and pull, and it would whir and click. And then she'd talk. "Tell me a story. Please take me with you. May I have a cookie?"
Let's play house. Will you play with me? Please comb my hair.
You remember that? To a child in the 1960s, that was pure magic. The sound itself is still something I can hear in my mind. That fuzzy little voice mixed with that mechanical whirring sound. It wasn't perfect, and it wasn't crystal clear, but somehow that made it even more special. I spent hours changing her clothes, brushing her hair, and pretending I was her mother. Sometimes, if I'm being honest, it felt like having a little companion. Back then, most of us didn't have rooms overflowing with toys. Many of us had one special doll. Maybe two if we were lucky. So that doll wasn't just another toy. It was precious. You took care of it. You created stories around it. You brought it into your little world. And somehow, that little doll became part of your childhood memories forever. As much as I love Chatty Cathy, Barbie was a big deal too. But here's something interesting. When we got a Barbie back then, nobody was thinking about future value and collector editions. Nobody was carefully putting dolls away in boxes, hoping they'd be worth money someday. We played with them a lot. Our dolls got their hair brushed 1,000 times. They got dressed and undressed constantly. Their shoes disappeared under couches. And somehow they survived all of it. I had my Barbie doll and a little baby doll. My friend Betty Jean, she had her Barbie and Barbie's little sister Skipper. And together we created entire worlds. We'd spend whole afternoons making up stories. One minute Barbie was a movie star, the next minute she would be a teacher. Then she would get married, then she was moving across the country. The story changed every 5 minutes, and we never ran out of ideas. One of my favorite things was my tin Barbie house. Do you remember those? The walls were painted with tiny details that made them look like a real home. There were pictures hanging on the walls, a fireplace, bookshelves, carpet designs printed right on the floor, and of course all that little plastic furniture. We spent hours arranging rooms, moving furniture, redecorating, changing our minds, then moving everything again. We weren't just playing with dolls, we were building worlds. And somehow a rainy afternoon would feel like 5 minutes because we were so absorbed in our imaginations. Now here's the part that touches my heart the most when I look back. Every birthday and Christmas, I always seemed to receive beautiful new outfits for my Barbie. I loved opening those packages. I'd rush to try everything on my dolls. A new dress, a new coat, a fancy new outfit, sometimes pajamas, sometimes a party dress. And I was always excited. But years later, my mother told me something that I never knew as a child. She said that after I left for school, she would secretly gather her sewing supplies. Then she'd spend hours creating those Barbie outfits by hand, cutting tiny patterns, measuring tiny pieces of fabric, sewing miniature seams, adding little details, and while keeping it a surprise. And she did it because she knew how much I loved them. As a child, I just saw the gift. As an adult, I see the love. I think that's one of the things that happens as we get older. We start realizing how many acts of love were actually happening behind the scenes. The things our parents did that we never noticed. The time they invested, the sacrifices they made, the care they put into making our childhood special. And somehow, those tiny Barbie clothes mean even more to me today than they did when I first opened them. I'm going to show you some of my doll clothes I still have too. And I'm wondering if this is my original Chatty Cathy dress. So let me know if you think these are Chatty Cathy doll clothes. This is a little dress with a petticoat. This one has petticoats. Little snaps on the back. And here are some skirts. This one has suspenders. A little skirt with snaps in the back. This looks like a little skirt. And a cute little dress. And here's a little top. It's like a gingham top. And a pajama top. This one has a little button in the back. And here is my Barbie doll from the 60s. And one of her outfits that I really liked, a mini dress, little shoes, and I even have a jacket to go with it. See, it's even got the lining inside that matches the dress. And this is a little baby doll that I would play with. It got a lot of use. Here's a few of my Barbie outfits I still have. I got this cute little raincoat. It's got these little hook clasps to close it. I got a dress. Another dress, sleeveless dress. This outfit is very 60s. And this one with the bell bottoms. Yeah, and all of these have little snaps to close them. I don't know if they still do that today, what kind of clasps they have. But, yeah. And these are some of the outfits that my mother made. I still have them. She put little tiny snaps on them, just like the real Barbie clothes. Imagine that was hard to do. Hand sewing those little snaps in there. She made this little coat outfit with a hat. A long maxi coat that was popular at the time. And this is a long vest, a dress, a long dress, and a skirt and a vest. Thanks, Mom. And this is my original Barbie case. This held the Barbie and all the Barbie clothes. Everything fit in here. Is there a date on here? Oh, it says 1967. I probably got the Barbies first and then got the case later. Now I don't have my old tin dollhouse, but I still have my old plastic furniture. It's got a whole kitchen set with the sink and the stove and refrigerator. Wonder if the refrigerator opens. Whoops, yes it does. It's got all the details inside. It's got a bathtub, a toilet and sink for the bathroom, an easy chair. This looks like a kitchen table or a porch table. And a bedroom set, the bed and dresser, and a piano, a little tiny lamp, and a bench for the piano. It's so cool to look at these all these years later. I used to have so much fun playing with these. There's another kind of doll that we used to play with, paper dolls. I still have it. It was this Tootie. And I still have all the clothes inside, even one that I made, homemade. I don't have the doll anymore, but I have the clothes. So I think, if I remember right, you would get these on a solid piece of paper and you would cut them out. And then these tabs would go over the paper doll to keep the clothes on. I would play with this for hours too, just trying out their different clothes. What about you? Did you have paper dolls? You got a lot of clothes. Well, this is really bringing back memories. Sundress. Ooh, clown suit. Yep, fun times. I don't know if they still have paper dolls today, do they? When I think about dolls from the 60s and 70s, I don't think the dolls themselves were necessarily better. What was different was the world around them. We had fewer distractions. No smartphones buzzing. No endless scrolling. No notifications demanding our attention every few minutes. So we had something that's become surprisingly rare today. Time. Time to imagine. Time to daydream. Time to create entire worlds out of one doll, a friendship, and a living room floor. Because we had fewer toys, what we did have felt more special. Because we weren't constantly entertained, we learned how to entertain ourselves. And because so much of our play involved other kids, we built friendships and memories that have stayed with us for decades. The dolls were wonderful, but the real gift wasn't the dolls. It was the imagination they inspired. It was the afternoons we spent with friends. It was the laughter, the stories, the make-believe worlds, and the love that surrounded all of it. That's why all these years later, when I think about Chatty Cathy, Barbie, and the handmade clothes my mother made, I don't just feel nostalgia. I feel gratitude. Because those dolls helped me create memories that still warm my heart today. And maybe that's what childhood was really about. Not the toys we owned, but the memories we made with them. If you had a favorite doll growing up, tell me about it in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories too. And until next time, this is that 70s gal cat, reminding you that sometimes the smallest things make the biggest memories. Peace out.